Calm, educated, and unassuming. These are three words that plainly describe the sort of man Manuel Pellegrini is. Born Manuel Luis Pellegrini Ripamonti on September 16, 1953, Pellegrini's managerial career started in his home country, Chile, followed by a bit of diversity with two other South American countries, and then a tour of some of the biggest football clubs in Europe, an impressive CV to say the least. However, in this glittering career, one particularly standout job that doesn't get talked about enough was his time at the Spanish club Villarreal. That period of 5 years was largely responsible for a significant boost to his profile as a manager. So I thought I'd take a closer look at how it all went down in Spain for the likeable Chilean. Pellegrini's first job was at the club he'd spent his entire playing career with, Universidad de Chile. He was their manager for 2 years.
And I always thought that when I finished my career as a football player, I was going to continue working in engineering, not in football.
Spells at other Chilean clubs came next. He managed Palestino at 2 separate periods and also led O'Higgins and Universidad Católica. A brief stint in Ecuador with LDU Quito followed, which was where he won his first league title. He finally brought his South American tour to an end with some time in Argentina with San Lorenzo and River Plate. There, he bagged another trophy, this time the Copa Sudamericana with San Lorenzo. Finally, a call from Europe came in. Villarreal, under the ownership of Fernando Roig, a Spanish billionaire, wanted Manuel Pellegrini to be their new manager. Villarreal Football Club is situated in Villarreal, a city in the province of Castellón in Spain. With a population of over 50,000 residents, it is the second largest city in the province, but relatively small in the context of the nation as a whole. In fact, the football club is the city's strongest claim to fame, and it's impressive how much they've managed to achieve in football over the years despite the small size of the area. Much of Villarreal's rise to the big time is down to Fernando Roig, who bought the club when they were struggling in the second tier of Spanish football. The club had huge debts, a small, dilapidated stadium, and they were barely known by football fans outside of their own area. The club was founded in 1923, and it took the better part of a century before it gained promotion to the top tier in 1998. Their first season went badly, as they got relegated back to the second tier, but they gained promotion immediately and returned to La Liga again. This time, they managed to stay there for much longer. 4 seasons with 3 different managers followed, with Villarreal skirting around mid-table places and relegation battles in that time. Their highest placed finish was 7th place under Victor Munoz in their first season back in the La Liga, and their most recent finish before Pellegrini was hired was 8th place under the manager Paquito. Roig had a vision of genuine success for Villarreal, and that vision fueled the need to hire a replacement manager in the form of Manuel Pellegrini. They were a club on the up, and he was a manager on the up too. It seemed a good match, and time would prove it to be so. Under Manuel Pellegrini between the years of 2004 and 2009, Villarreal Football Club flourished. Pellegrini brought in quite a number of new faces over the course of his time as Villarreal manager, but a few in particular stood out. Interestingly, perhaps the most important signing he made was in his first season, Diego Forlan for €3.2 million. At the time, Forlan was a 25-year-old who just enjoyed a Manchester United career with more lows than highs. He was by no means a certain key signing at the moment that he joined Villarreal. However, that soon changed, as he scored 25 goals in his debut season at the club. Juan Pablo Sorin also joined the club that year. He was one of many South American players that Pellegrini brought into Villarreal, presumably with prior knowledge of them, from his time managing in the region. He only cost €1.5 million, so it was a really good deal. Over the next 4 years, Pellegrini made some more crucial signings. Players that made significant contributions to strengthening the core of the team and improving the overall quality of the starting XI. The 2005-06 season saw Pellegrini sign Juan Roman Riquelme from Barcelona permanently for €8 million. He'd been at the club on loan for 2 years, becoming one of their most important players. In the summer of 2006, Cani, Roberto Perez, Nihat Keveci joined the club to further strengthen the attack. Cani was signed for €11 million, but Perez and Keveci both joined for free from Arsenal and Real Sociedad respectively.
Roman, Marco Sena, Robert Pires, Santi Cazorla, so it was impossible for them to lose a ball. It was not in their mind.
The following season, Villarreal invested further in the attack, signing Giuseppe Rossi for €10 million and bringing Santi Cazorla back for €1.2 million. That, along with the defensive reinforcements of Diego Lopez and Diego Godin for €7 million and €800,000 respectively, helped them to a famous second-placed league finish in the 07-08 season. Things did not get off to a great start for Pellegrini's new club in the first season, especially in the league. They failed to win a game in their first 5 games, losing 2 and drawing 3 to sit 16th on the league table. To be fair though, they'd started off the season competing in the UEFA Intertoto Cup 2, and they consistently played their best 11 in that competition. Considering the fact that there was some long distance travelling to play away games, it might have taken a toll on the team's performance in the league. They got some respite by winning the cup, notably beating Atletico Madrid in the finals and gaining qualification for the more prestigious UEFA Cup. After that, their form in the league picked up, and they went on a particularly impressive run between December and February. After drawing at home to second place Real Madrid, the team enjoyed a morale boost that ensured they did not lose a league game for the next 2 months. That run of form saw them streak up the table from 15th place to 6th. The run also included an impressive 3-0 victory against eventual league winners Barcelona. Forlan scored twice and Riquelme nabbed 2 assists in that game. They were quite the partnership. Domestically, things continued to look up for Villarreal for the rest of the season. They managed to keep up the pace and ended up in 3rd place behind the usual suspects Barcelona and Real Madrid. They were some way off from 2nd place, 15 points to be exact, but it was remarkable progress still. They had a decent run in the UEFA Cup too, narrowly losing out 3-2 on aggregate to AZ Alkmaar over 2 quarter-final legs. Needless to say, Pellegrini was well on his way to becoming a fan favourite with that debut season. Pellegrini's time at Villarreal was riddled with many instances of overachievement by the team, sometimes in specific games, sometimes in competitions. An instance of the former was a 3-0 win against Barcelona in his first season, but their underdog story in the following season was even more impressive. A 3rd placed finish in the 04-05 season gained qualification for the UEFA Champions League. For many, it was a situation of simply enjoying the opportunity to be there. But Pellegrini and his team had other plans. They had it rough right from the group stages, drawn against teams such as Manchester United, Benfica and Lille. It was a situation of grinding out results as they managed 4 draws and 2 wins in the group stages. Those results included 2 goalless draws against Manchester United, home and away, and an away win against Benfica. They scored just 3 goals in 6 games, but they also only conceded once. It was enough to earn 10 points in qualification for the round of 16 at the expense of the expected group favourites, Manchester United, who finished bottom of the group. Villarreal did get a fairly kinder draw against Rangers FC in the round of 16, but they needed the influence of the away goal rule to qualify. A 2-2 draw in the first leg away at the Ibrox Stadium was followed by a 1-1 draw in the reverse fixture to send the Yellow Submarine through to the quarter-finals on away goals. If they had bowed out at the next stage against Inter Milan, it would still have been a respectable run. That Inter team had absolute legends, such as Zanetti, Adriano, Franco Todo, Cambiasso, Veron, basically a star-studded team. That quality shone through in the first leg too. Forlan put Villarreal in the lead with an early goal in the first minute, but Adriano brought Inter back level 6 minutes later, and Obafemi Martins sealed a win for Inter with a goal in the 54th minute. However, the reverse fixture on their own turf was where Villarreal did what they do best, the same way they qualified from the group stages. It was the usual suspect, Riquelme, that provided a set-piece assist for Rodolfo Arruabrena's header to put Villarreal ahead in the 58th minute. They held on to the lead, and that goal proved to be the winner. The blessing of the away goal rule had come through again. The semi-finals draw pitted Villarreal against Arsene Wenger's Arsenal. This was another team with world-class players such as Fabregas, Lehmann and Thierry Henry, but this time, Villarreal could not find a way through. They gave Arsenal a pretty tough time over 2 legs, but a lone goal from Kolo Touré at the Emirates Stadium brought their tournament to a halt. The reverse fixture ended goalless, and Pellegrini's men lost 1-0 on aggregate. 3 years after this, they would attempt to turn back the hands of time and replicate that 05-06 Champions League run. They drew Manchester United again in the group stages of the 08-09 season, and they got Arsenal in the knockout stages again. This time, it was in the quarter-finals, but the result was the same. In fact, it was not as close as it was the first time, a heavy 4-1 aggregate loss. These 2 Champions League runs are stellar examples of the serial overachievers, but the domestic run of the 07-08 season deserves a mention too. Villarreal finished that season in 2nd place, 8 points behind winners Real Madrid. The highlights of that season was the fact that they did the double over their 2 closest rivals, Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, in 3rd and 4th place respectively. By that time, Pellegrini had built a reputation of one of the finest managers in Europe, so it was no surprise when he was snatched up by Real Madrid less than 2 years after. For a manager that led superpowers such as Real Madrid and Manchester City, it's impressive how Pellegrini's time at Villarreal still gets a mention as his most impressive stint as a football manager. After all, he did win titles at other clubs, and he won nothing major with Villarreal. However, everyone loves a good underdog story, and that possibly has something to do with it.